Deion Sanders had better show that he wants to stay at Colorado long-term right now. And the way you do that is you start recruiting high schools now. I don't care that that you're behind. I don't care that you weren't doing it before. Time to start doing it if you plan to stay there. Otherwise, all those critics, and we weren't among them at the beginning, but all those critics who say this is daddy ball on steroids, they're going to be right. And Deion's going to be gone, and Colorado's going to be looking at exactly what it was before he got there.
The best time for Deion Sanders to start recruiting high schools was yesterday. And yesterday it was the day before.
Yeah.
Like every single day that goes by where that doesn't happen is a wasted day. So here's the thing with Deion and Colorado. On one hand, he has unquestionably created a better sentiment, a place where people want to buy tickets.
They're excited.
They've won games that they probably would have lost in the past. They have two of the most electrifying players in college football that would not be there if it weren't for him. Like, he has done good. But we are talking about Colorado a lot of times to people who don't follow college football the way that we do and the great fans in our chat do. And there's a lot of Deion fans. There's not a lot of Colorado fans, right?
Right.
The tried and true Colorado fans exist, but I think that they know if they pay attention to how the sport works, what you have to do to create something that isn't just a flash in the pan or a cool story. You have to create something with staying power by building it with a foundation. And that foundation is built through adding players. And we had a conversation yesterday, but if Deion would have come out of the gate from day one recruiting high school players, and again, it doesn't have to even be 5-star, 4-star guys.
It can be 3-star
just
plus.
Really good, like Kansas State type classes where they brought in 20 dudes. They would have 50 people on their roster right now that they came up through the high school ranks that they could have accentuated with the players that they wanted to get out of the portal, not needed to get. And they could have gotten some really good skill position players. Shedeur would still be there. Travis Hunter would still be there. And they might actually have a chance to win 8 games this year. But he has done nothing. And I'm talking to you, Colorado fans, who are only Colorado fans because you're Deion fans. He has done nothing in his time as Colorado's coach to incite or imply that he has any design of being there longer than his kids. And I just, Andy, is your take is just, if you follow college football, your take is lukewarm.
Well, and that's the thing.
If you don't,
Deion fans don't understand college football because they're just here for Deion. Like, they weren't here before, so they don't understand how the sport actually works. So they believe Deion when he says, I have a plan, it's different. Well, we who actually follow the sport know there's a way that works and there's a way that doesn't work, and he keeps doing the way that doesn't work. And you buy it because you don't understand how the sport works.
And I've never really been that comfortable predicting.
Well, let me give you some numbers.
Predicting whether a coach is going to be there at the end.
Yeah, well,
and it's like, I just do not think Deion's going to be the coach.
But let me give you some numbers.
Okay, let's hear them.
So in the classes of 2023 and 2024, how many high school offensive linemen did Deion Sanders sign?
Is it both classes you're asking?
Both classes combined.
3.
Correct.
Yeah,
that's correct. So he signed 2 in 2000, or he signed 1 in 2023, and then 2 in 2024. Jordan Seaton, and a British import who's the 3-star plus type with kind of a project.
But also understand too that most colleges want 5 to 6 a class.
Wait.
Okay, yeah.
How many did Kirby Smart sign at Georgia in the classes of 2023 and 2024?
I would guess 11.
12.
Yeah,
12, because Kirby Smart is worried about winning at Georgia in 2026. You sign offensive linemen in 2023 and 2024 if you'd like to win in 2026 and 2027. That's how it works.
But also, too, win in 2024 if your left tackle blows his knee out. Like, that's like there's also, situations, and Georgia is a really good example, and I'm happy you looked up those numbers. But you have to maintain a certain level of athlete on Georgia's roster to continue to be Georgia. So the 5-star, 4-star type players that they're signing in those classes are more likely to play from day one, even though the offensive line is the hardest thing to transition.
They don't play from day one.
But I'm saying they're more likely
look at
than the players that the Colorado is bringing in year 3 of the transfer portal.
Yeah, exactly. But Georgia understands that, like, you might not look at Amarius Mims. He hit the transfer portal because he didn't play right away at Georgia.
Right.
And they're like, dude, hang here. You'll be a first-round draft pick. So, but they almost lost him, but they kept him. And you know what? If they'd have lost him, they would have done? Signed another high school offensive lineman.
That was similarly built and talented to him.
Yes.
Like that's so, I do think too, and I've made this mistake in the past, Andy, but comparing Colorado to Georgia, I think is a dangerous game because they're not playing the same sport.
Okay.
Who should we
State?
That's who we should be comparing.
But here's the thing. And here's the thing with Deion Sanders. And this is the part that should frustrate you if you're a Colorado fan or a Deion fan, because if they sign classes, I'll give you another one, Utah.
Yeah, no,
And now we're Kansas
cooking.
State or Utah, and then use your Deion Sandersness to sprinkle some 5 stars and 4 stars on top of that
At the skill position players, which those programs typically don't have.
Right.
You are talking about a team that could legitimately win a playoff
They
game.
would dominate the Big 12.
And that's the thing that's crazy, because I think back, Andy, watching the TCU game last year, the opener. And when they beat TCU, and again, you got to put yourself back in at that time, TCU was the defending national champion. I have a heck of a lot of respect for Sonny Dykes and who he is as a coach and what he built at TCU. I was like, if they are beating TCU, and I believe it was on the road, if I remember correctly, on the road,
yeah,
in week 1 of Deion's first thing, like Colorado is a legitimate problem nationally.
Yes.
Like if Deion is, because I say this a million times and I'll say it 1,000,001. Deion Sanders' #1 qualification for being a coach at this level is fame and stardom. If he is to weaponize that fame and stardom, his qualification for being the coach at high schools and everywhere else he's allowed to be from a recruiting standpoint, by this point in his tenure, their bottom half of their roster would be twice as good as the bottom half of their roster already is. But I think that, and this is a hypothesis, as a word I learned in science in high school, about this, is that he knew coming into this, and this is what I actually think. This is a podcast. I'm going to be real with you. I actually think, and this might not be groundbreaking to some people, that he took this job to be there along the way with his kids to make some extra money, both for him and his kids on the side, his production company for his other kid, get Shedeur drafted and Shilo to his ceiling, and then that was it. Like there was nothing that he has done.
What his most derisive critics have been saying all along, and if you don't know the term daddy ball, if you have a kid in youth sports, you know this term. Daddy ball is when there's, you've got the best player on the team and that kid's dad starts coaching the team and basically builds everything for their child to be raised up and doesn't really worry about any other players on the team. That's what daddy ball is, and that's what this looks like.
And to wrap it around to your original point, he has done nothing. And when I say nothing, I mean with a capital N, to show that he is interested in building up Colorado's football program long term.
Yeah. Did you say TCU was the national champion or something?
Defending national champion going into last year's opener.
They were not the defending national. I believe Georgia won that game 65-7, Ari.
Yeah.
They had played in the national.
I know that. It was a brain fart. Thank you for correcting me. They were defending national
I just saw the chat light up and I'm like, wait a second. Did that fly over my, did Ari hand the Horned Frogs the national title?
Somebody who paid 3 months worth of mortgage on that game knows that they didn't win that football game, but it was a mistake. And thank you for correcting me.
Some of the game day people picked TCU in that game.
Some of the athletic people picked
TCU.
You
remember what we did?
I said it wasn't even worth watching.
We left. we did a taco tour with Dan Rubenstein around LA. We went to Media Day on Saturday and we flew. I went to the coaches convention and you went home because we knew what was going to happen in that game. Thank you so much for watching. Just a reminder, subscribe to this channel right here so you never miss an episode of Andy Staples on 3. And oh, by the way, watch all the other great videos on the On3 Sports YouTube channel.